Hello and welcome back to ScreenBlue.com. So now we understand how you can actually create a return type of different boolean, integer, double, or string. Let's go into IntelliJ and do the same thing and write some code to create some methods. I'm actually going to open this IntelliJ here. So the first thing was this void method. So here I'm going to say public static void main string args. So here I'm actually going to create a first method that returns void, or it does not, or returns empty value. Okay, so here I'm actually going to say public static void greet. Okay, here my parameter is string parameter is name, and I'm actually going to say system.out.println. Let's just use string interpolations actually. Right, so we'll say name. And I also forgot to do string.format here. Okay, since I don't have one closing parenthesis, throw an error. So now I created this method, right, greet, which actually does this operations. It just prints out. It does not return anything. Returning means it does not save into the memory. So now if I'm going to call this method here, I'm going to call greet, and in here I'm going to call John, greet Kevin, and let's say greet Raj, greet Stacy. Alright, so now as you can see here, when I call this one, I'm actually calling this method, and the name parameter, this is a string value. I gotta put a string value in here, that's why I have it in double quotes. So now if I run this, it's gonna say hello John, hello Kevin, hello Raj, and hello Stacy, right? So this one here, and actually when I call this line of code, it actually goes to this method and puts the parameter here is to John, and it's gonna print out hello John. And next second thing is Kevin, hello Kevin, and so on. So you can see here, I created this nice method and I can use it n number of times. I can call this method greet for n number of strangers, n number of customers, and now this code is very clean as well, right? The other program will understand what you're doing here. So now let's create the other method which actually returns the string. Alright, so now in here, I'm actually going to copy this one here, so it's a lot easier. So save some time, and here I'm actually going to do string, and you can see here it's throwing an error because it's saying this make greet return void or add return statement, right? You see that? As soon as I do string, it's returning string value. This only does the operation, it does not return any string. I'm actually going to do return hello, so I'm in here, put hello at that, and welcome to Java. So in here, I'm actually going to do string.format. And in here, I'm going to say name. See here? I'm returning the string, okay, and I'm formatting it because I said hello, and I want to actually use this name. So I use this %s in here, and welcome to Java. So now, if I call this method in here, let's see what happens. Okay, can I close this? Now you see here, right? I call this method, it's not returning anything. So what it did was basically, when I call greet John here, it turns the string, right? But it does not print the output because we do not have a code that says to print the output in your computer, right? It's saving it in your computer memory, right? This is saved in your computer memory for each line of code, but it's not printing it out for you. Okay, so you want to print it out, you're going to have to do system.out.println that system.out.println that system.out.println that system.out.println that. So now if I run this, it's going to say hello John, right? The first one here, system.println greet John. So it's since I have println, print it out for me, right? System.out, print it out from my system. Print ln greet John. It's going to go back to this method here, greet, and my parameter name is string parameter is John, so it's going to go back here. It's going to say, hello John, welcome to Java. Second thing, hello Kevin, welcome to Java. Hello Raj, welcome to Java. Hello Stacy, welcome to Java. So you see here, sorry, this is not a string, empty values, but method that returns string value. So this method here actually returns a string. Here I'm actually returning a string and formatting it with string interpolation, and I can call this method n number of times. So that's how you can actually create a method that returns a string. So now let's create a method that actually returns a double value, double method. So I'm actually going to copy this to save some time, and we're going to change the value. Alright, so here I'm actually going to do double, and in here I'm actually going to do add. So in here, it's also say, I'm going to say double a num1, okay, and double num2. So here, I'm actually returning num1 plus num2. So here, as you can see here, I'm returning the double because my number 1 is double, num2 is double as well. So now, if I call this add method here, I can say add, and I can say 21, 22, right, and add 22.101, 24.5.43, so on, and let's add some big numbers here, 400 that, and 200 something like that, and forgot to put closing parenthesis, and in here as well I'm going to add negative number and positive number. So now let's see what happens. Alright, so you can see here, right? I've got add 21 plus 22, and so it's 43, and I'm returning a double, so it gave me 43.0. Same thing here, 22.01, 25.42, it's giving me this double value in here. Same thing, 43.4, it's going to give me 0, and so on. So I'm actually getting the double value in here, right? So let's see what happens if I just put int in here. You see here, if I put int, it's actually throwing an error. It says that, okay, I'm expecting a double, but I found int equal, because they both are int. So when I do return num1 plus num2, so when you're adding to int, you're going to get int, right? So you want a double. So actually, the way you can do is you just do double equal num1 plus num2, and you can actually return the double. So that way you can do that as well. Okay, but however, it's just going to throw an error because I'm expecting this parameter 1 and parameter 2 be int, but this is a double, right? So anyway, you could do whatever you want here. Like I'm going to actually make it double so that it's going to accept both integer and double value. Okay, and you can do this one as well. And if I do this, it's going to work. Or to make it a little short, I can also do num1 plus num2. Both are double and also returning double. So that's how you can actually create a method that returns a double value. It's called a double return type method. Okay. So now let's create a method here that actually returns int. And to make it again a lot faster, I'm actually gonna copy this value in here. Alright, so I'm actually going to go int method in here, and in here I'm actually going to say int. So in here I can do the same thing just to make it a lot faster. I'm actually going to delete that. So now here my return type is int. Sorry about that. It should be int, so I copied this. So this is a method that returns an integer value. So now I have an add integer method, okay, that actually adds two integers, num1, num2, and returning both integer values. So when you add two ints, you're going to get int, right? So num1 plus num2. So now if I do call this add method and I have two integers, right, it's going to add two integers and give you the integer value. So if I run this, I'm just going to get 43 instead of 43.0 because I'm actually returning an integer value. So that's how you can actually create an integer method. Now let's create a Boolean method. So actually I'm going to copy the same line of code here, and I'm going to go back in here. Okay, so just copy this one here to make it a lot faster. And I'm actually going to say this one is a Boolean. And here I'm going to say is even. And here I'm actually going to say that int is number. So, and here I'm going to say int number. This, if you divide by 0 and there's no remainder, I'm going to say return true, else return false. So let's see here. Why is it throwing an error? Seems like it doesn't like the question mark. Anyway, I created this Boolean method here, is even. Okay, it takes a parameter as number, right? So you divide by 2, and if there's no remainder, then you can actually return true, which means this is an even number. Else, you can run this code here. So if the number, once divided by 2, there's no remainder, you're going to get return true, which means that's even, else return false, right? So now let's call this is even, and here I'm actually going to put integer to 20, and here is even 22. Okay, let's do some big numbers like that. All right, let's see. And you can see first number, so when divided by 2, it's true because there's no remainder. Second thing, same thing here, and same thing here. This one says false because you're going to get a remainder, so it's not an even number, right? So that's how you can actually create a Boolean method, and you can call that method anywhere. Like here, I'm calling the method in this main method here. And so this is how you can actually create a Boolean method. Alright, so that's it for this lecture, guys. I hope you guys understood what the return type with void method is, where your return type with string, integer, double, and Boolean method is, okay? Again, this is a very, very important topic, and you're going to use this a lot in your real-time projects. Okay, so please try to understand what each method, return type method is, and try to actually practice with different examples until unless you are very clear what each method does and how you can create each method. I want you guys to practice a lot. So that's it for this lecture, guys. I will see you guys in our next lecture.